Don't you just love finding comic books under fair market value, especially online? I know I do. Hey there, today I have a comic book unboxing video, and this is an order that I placed with Atomic Avenue a little while ago, and I just continue to hunt down books that I consider to be of value when I'm comparing the cost of acquiring the book against the fair market value, using cover prices fair market value to kind of assume high grade. I do feel like it's probably time for a full breakdown on the average grades from Atomic Avenue. I am considering kind of pulling back from the assumption that near mint is 9.4. This particular order that I placed was from, I would consider to be a strong seller. It is a seller that I have bought from in the past several times and does not offer free shipping. I love to unlock that free shipping. So if I'm getting good books from somebody and I'm willing to pay for shipping, I feel like it's worthwhile. So we're going to unbox this order of comic books and kind of break down the books, why I bought them. Some of them might be, I would say, reaches in terms of speculation, uh, but it's part of the fun. I don't typically speculate on books or try to create speculation or follow really crazy leads on books. I do like to dabble in it. I think we all do. And there are some books in here I would consider to be maybe head scratching or questionable speculation, but I love it nonetheless. It's just fun. It lets me just kind of play in that area when really I'm just trying to find good value in books. So let's get this order unboxed. We'll start looking at the comics, talking about the particular issues, and then at the very end, I'll show you what I paid for these and compare it to what's going on currently in the market, just to see if this order was worthwhile. Okay, here is the order from Capco Comics on Atomic Avenue. This order came to me all the way from beautiful Colorado. So let's go ahead and get this big box opened up. One of the things I love about ordering from the seller is he makes his own packing out of laundry detergent boxes. So he's super creative with that. Huh? Look at that. It's the only place on the internet, I think, where you can get comic books shipped to you that are nice and clean and they smell great. So this will just take me a second to kind of get through these bricks and get them out of the wrapping with all this wonderful tape. And I'll try not to slice the comics in the process. Okay, I think we're onto the third layer of tape. Scotch tape, so it's a little easier to open up. Just kind of moving this little slicing tool just barely on the edge of the Scotch tape. I don't want to. These books are they're taped up in the spine here. Well, all over, I guess. There's no clean way to, other than just to barely, almost just kind of tap on the Scotch tape and hope that I'm just touching the comic bag and not the actual book itself. Come on. This one's being stubborn. There we go. Oh, no, not quite. More tape. Probably my least favorite thing about buying comics online is the tape. I understand you got to tape it. You get everything has to be secure. I get it, but some clever use of bubble wrap and one piece of tape, and the books aren't going to move around. Anyway, but I think people think that Scotch tape is cheaper than bubble wrap, so I'm going to save a couple bucks. I don't know. Everybody ships differently. That's what's funny is that some of the online stores, like your Shopify stores, they'll do that Gemini mailer with the painter's tape. There's a few that kind of all ship the same way, and I appreciate that. But when you're buying from I'd say just a regular typical seller through eBay or anywhere else, they all do it differently. And there really is a process too, by the way. It is very straightforward with the Gemini mailer. I'm just gonna have to start pulling these books apart. But let's get to it. Let's get to the comics. Stop talking about the packing. Here we go. First book is Alpha Flight #1, and as you can see in the back here, I picked up 2 copies of this one. I think this is my 3rd and 4th copy. I'm on the hunt for a 9.8 or like a pressing candidate, so we shall see if these are it. Again, all of these books were listed by Capco Comics on Atomic Avenue in near mint. There was one book I think listed as near mint minus, but still under the near mint category. And that's how my books are listed when I do sell there. Atomic Avenue has their sort of grading tiers. But I use the point system. And so what I have to do is in my description, so under mint or near mint will be my book. And then it will have the point grade in the description. It's not the best, but I do understand it simplifies things. It's just that, as we all know, people interpret near mint as different grades along the point system. But what I like about this, and I'm not going to crack open, there's 25 books in this order, so I'm just going to go through it. I'm not going to grade these. What I like about these at first glance in the bag is that they're both cut correctly. So I love when books are wrapped very nicely, as both of these are. And the colors are great. You've got the yellow, the red, white, and yellow at the top, and then all of the characters down below with the Fantastic Four, Avengers, some X-Men, and here comes Alpha Flight right there front and center. I think Alpha Flight, is it going to be an MCU show? I have no idea. But do I believe Alpha Flight will be somewhere in play? Could it be when Wolverine comes back to the MCU? Maybe Alpha Flight's part of that origin story. I don't know, but again, issue 1, I'm on the hunt for that one, so I've got 2 more potential books to try and get that 9.8. Let's see if I can get rid of some more of this tape so I'm not peeling all books off. There we go. Alpha Flight #10. Not only am I trying to get the first issue in a 9.8, I'm also just trying to get a really nice, solid run of Alpha Flight. So this is a book that I don't believe I have in the run. I love getting those early issues, like the first year, the first dozen, or single-digit issues. I do try to focus on those, the early books of any run. All right, here we go. The next book, Amazing Spider-Man 350, giant size, 350th issue. I've talked about this before. I love the giant size issues because the cover price is more. So this one's $1.50. But over time, in terms of book value slab, nobody's getting a bump for a book being a giant size. It's just the book itself. So a lot of times you can get giant size or specialty books or whatever that cost more cover price wise, but from a value they all just kind of flatten out. So I like getting these giant size. I feel like I'm getting something extra for my money. Eric Larson on art here, but nice battle of Spider-Man and Doctor Doom. The tape in this order, it's it's everywhere. It's funny. Hey, if they're all high grade, he can put as much tape on these as he wants. They're just sticking to each other at this point. All right, I've got a little run of Avengers here. Avengers 261. These Avengers books are extremely cheap, but really nice value. This one, 261, you've got the Secret Wars 2 tie-in, written by Roger Stern and art by John Buscema, with the Beyonder in that really freaky outfit. Almost looks like the Professor X head. Not Cerebro, but whatever he's got going on. Rocking that on the dome. Love these John Buscema art Avengers. Love this run. Here's Avengers 230. Still written by Roger Stern, art by Al Milgrom on this one with the Milgrom cover. This one's really tough with the black dark background there. I can see a couple of spine ticks here, but as long as there's no color breaks, then these are great to press and slab, and savvier collectors will appreciate these in high grade because of the darker inks being used. So there is sort of that collector mentality of a tough book. So I like to grab those. Again, it's just analysis of finding the low price, high grade raw books that have a huge gap from raw to CGC 9.8. Those are my favorite kind of books to buy. None of these are keys. You're not going to find these listed on any apps or anything. But to me, they're key because they're valuable. Avengers 266, same sort of deal. Really tough, all orange cover. Roger Stern and John Buscema again. Secret Wars 2 tie-in. So great run of Avengers. Great era, mid-80s. Great art. Great colors, story, characters. I mean, Silver Surfer's there. I mean, it's got it all. Just a completely forgotten sort of dollar bin type book, but really great value here. Now this one, I said at the beginning, I don't consider myself a speculator, and I don't really dabble in all of that a whole lot. Myself, I appreciate it and I watch others do it, and I often am influenced by that, but I don't do it myself. I don't try to push spec on people. But this one, it made me think a little bit. So this is Avengers 318. This is Nebula on the cover, not the precise exact representation that came out in the MCU, but similar color scheme, I would say, the blue and purple. But I love this Nebula cover. The other thing I love about it, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I did a little bit of research, and by research, I looked it up on the Marvel fandom wiki. They have a really neat, like, I don't know if it's comprehensive, but at least from the earlier character appearances, it will list the chronological order of those appearances. And when I was looking at it, I think this is Nebula's like 12th appearance in comics. So from that perspective, it's not that interesting. But I believe this is her first full cover appearance. The other cover appearance, it's just kind of an outline of her face, and that's designated as the first cover appearance of Nebula. And I'm not going to get into the debate between like cameo, is that first appearance or is it first cameo, and all of that. I'm just kind of calling it what it is, and it's the first full appearance where you can actually see her as a character. So I thought that was kind of cool. I love Nebula in the MCU, and I have her first appearance in comics. I have that first cover where it's just kind of her face in an outline form, and now I have her first full. So I think it's pretty cool. Green Lantern number 185. I'm not a huge DC collector. Probably if you break down the percentage, which is, I have 2 books in here, 2 books out of 25 from DC. That's a fair breakdown of the percentage-wise of my collection that is DC versus Marvel. This is the origin of Jon Stewart. I think that going forward, as far as HBO Max, Warner Brothers, DC, whatever is coming out with all of their uh, shows and movies, I think that Jon Stewart is the go forward Green Lantern. And if you can't get first appearance, can't get first single issue, can't get second appearance, can't get first cover, go for the origin. So this is a really nice pickup here of the origin of Jon Stewart. And again, what I love about the seller is that this looks like a very nice high grade copy. From again, that it's like I can't get away from like 1985, like right smack in the middle of the 80s. So really cool. Dave Gibbons on art, Len Wayne on story. So Mark Spector, Moon Knight 47. The Mark Spector run until you get to the Stephen Platt issues, pretty so-so. Not great. Not really super solid reads. Art is okay, but anything Moon Knight right now, the Moon Knight series, they're killing it. It's awesome. I love it. I'm not speculating that any other Moon Knight characters are going to show up. It's a 6-episode series. I don't know if Moon Knight's going to really go beyond the 6 episodes, so that would be heartbreaking because it is such a great series. But in this one, again, kind of a reach. The first appearance of Dead Zone. I don't believe Dead Zone is going to show up in like episode 5 of Moon Knight, but just grabbing like dollar bin type books that have some first appearance, something to do with Moon Knight. There you go. Okay, a couple more here in this stack. Iron Man 168. I have several of these. I'd like to have this one in a 9.8. I don't know if this one is or not, but love technology. Iron Man's my favorite character. Have a lot of Machine Man as well. So I love getting them when they're together because it's really kind of an odd combo, and it even says Man Machine and Machine Man. Well, it's blocked down here, kind of. Original, look at that, 95 cents from $1 Comics. So that's cool. So the seller made a few cents off of me because I paid more than 95 cents. But anyway, just trying to add anything Iron Man, Machine Man into my collection. And then the last one in this brick, Marvel Team Up featuring Spider-Man and Invisible Girl. This is Marvel Team Up 88, written by Chris Claremont and art by Sal Buscema. These are really great. These are late 70s Marvel team-ups, early 80s. Very affordable. And a lot of these with the Marvel prefixed books in the Bronze Age, they continue to have value. Marvel 2-in-1, Marvel Team-Up, even like Marvel Tales, some of those too. I think just getting those books in high grade, people really appreciate that, and they're just sitting in people's collections. I was not a Marvel team-up collector back in the day, and I've kind of started picking up Marvel team-up everywhere I can because of the history and scarcity of those books in high grade. All right, let me get this second brick opened up. Okay, it's sort of open. I'm just going to kind of grab them without further, hopefully not damaging them. But here's another series. I can't help myself. Spider-Man, number 10. Wendigo, Wolverine, Spider-Man, McFarlane on story and art, McFarlane cover. I can't stop buying these. They're always like a few bucks, and they're great. And I'm finally starting to send these off to CGC. So now that I've amassed like 2 or 3 copies of each of like Spider-Man 1 through 10 or 1 through 12, I'm just kind of cherry picking those books that I think are a 9.8 and starting to send those off. again, it's a combination. I think there's still the argument around supply and demand. Like these books are plentiful, but people get hit with those nostalgic feels, and then they also want to display it, and they want these in a 9.8. And again, it's a very very minor investment. It's a great book, even if it's not a 9.8. It's great art. It just appeals. It pops. So if it's not a 9.8, it's a great value add to your collection. They always sell, even if it is just for a few dollars. You can always move McFarlane books. But boy, if you're able to get it in that 9.6, 9.8, and honestly, if you get it a 9.4, it's not that valuable. But the 9.8s on those, it's a lot of fun because people recognize it. There's a lot to be said in comic book value, and I'm sure it's a lot of collectibles, in the recognition of it, where that will always attract buyers. Are you going to get top dollar for a book like that? No, but a 9.8, is this selling for maybe $60 or $65 in a 9.8? Well, we'll find out here in a few minutes when I show you the analysis. But you're not out of a whole lot out of pocket for that. Same thing with this book. This book is plentiful. X-Men 153. I do have one at CGC right now. I've pressed one. I have several. I've always loved this cover for some reason. It's just sort of a goofy, silly, fun, but also a little bit scary too. It's almost like Kitty's just not sure what's happening. I don't know. This early 80s Claremont, they're always books I love to get. And this is sort of an alternative story. So it's not typically a key, but it has this three-dimensional poster kind of look that I've always loved. So I'd love to grab this one because it's always cheap. Here's the other DC book. This is Watchmen 11. And I continue to try and hunt down the single issues of Watchmen. This is the origin of Ozymandias. And I'm trying to... These are so hard. The cover is a little bit tough. You'll see here there's definitely some dirt or color rub right in here, especially down in the W. But I still keep grabbing them. These are not super cheap. These typically run anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks. But I like to grab them. I think I have just about all of them now except for issue 1. And it pains me too because I did have either a 9.6 or a 9.8 CGC slabbed Watchmen number 1. And I believe it's somewhere in my garage, but I don't know where it is. I don't know what bin it's in. So I'll have to end up... As soon as I get it, that's when I'll find it. But I'm sure everybody has stories like that where they end up buying a book that they thought they didn't have, and then it shows up. Okay, this tape is driving me nuts because these two books are taped together. All I know is I cannot wait to rebag and board these. That's my favorite part, is to go through and clean all these up. Sleepwalker number 3, not number 1. Everybody's buying number 1. Sleepwalker 3, I don't even know if it's a dollar bin book. It might be a quarter bin or 50-cent bin. And I just love to say that because what dollar bins are out there that has 9.8s just sitting around? Why did I get Sleepwalker number 3? It's the first appearance of Cobweb. Again, this is why I'm not a speculator, because I'm thinking Cobweb, is that a Spider-Man? Is it a web? Forget it. I tried, right? I tried. But Sleepwalker number 3, again, if Sleepwalker number 1 is a thing and the character's coming to Guardians of the Galaxy or some other cosmic MCU property, it's possible that he could pull along some recurring characters, and Cobweb is a recurring character in the Sleepwalker series, so I grabbed it. It was super cheap. Web of Spider-Man 93. This is the Hobgoblin Reborn Part 1. And it's got Hobgoblin on the cover right there, obviously. Moon Knight, anything Moon Knight I'm picking up. And then plus the Foreigner. and there's talk about the Foreigner being in the next always wonderfully made Sony Marvel movie, whatever. Okay, back to the McFarlane Spider-Man number 3. And this is fun too because this is a newsstand. I don't care about newsstand. I don't care about direct. I don't care about arguing about it. I don't care about even trying to figure it out or knowing it. But I do love value. I do love when the book is valuable. And a lot of these early 90s books with the newsstand, the UPC, they're desirable. They're collectible. There's people looking for them. So that's another thing is a lot of times look on eBay with the scans. Now, if there are other savvy buyers, they're doing exactly what you are, and they're scanning early 90s comics that have the barcode. With Atomic Avenue, it's a risk. It's a gamble. But a lot of times sellers just have the copy. They pick it up and they throw it in your order because there's no breakdown of newsstand versus direct there. Here's Spectacular Spider-Man 89. Black Cat appearance. Not much else to say about this book. Not a key, but Black Cat showed up quite a bit in Spectacular Spider-Man. I love issue 90. It's the issue where she's pretty much front and center on the cover. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous Black Cat cover. So just kind of filling out the run of Spectacular Spider-Man there. And picking up anything Black Cat. She's going to be in Spider-Man 4. I think she's going to be like the main character. I don't know if they'll continue with Mary Jane as a supporting character. I hope so. But I definitely believe Felicia Hardy is going to be in Spider-Man 4, probably in all 3 of the movies. Now, this is a fun one. This is X-Men Special Edition number 1. This is a reprint of Giant Size X-Men number 1. So is this the second print of that book? Maybe. But with reprints being a little bit more interesting now, certainly modern facsimiles that reprint older books are cool. I like this book. What I love is it's Dave Cockrum on art. So you get that really, really great nostalgic X-Men look, and you get the reprint of Giant Size X-Men. So sometimes that's what you got to do with those mega grails, mega keys. The reprints are fun. You get to kind of own a little piece of history with the story inside. It's in comic form, right? So it's not a graphic novel or omnibus reprint. And then also there's it says there's a new 12-page story. And in that story, again, Claremont loved Kitty Pryde. I'm sure he still loves her. And so there's a Kitty Pryde backup story where the New Mutants appear, and it's actually the New Mutants' second appearance. So again, a little bit of extra spec there on that book. But again, I would slab that as a 9.8 and hang it. I mean, that's great. I love like special edition X-Men, classic X-Men. People just see those as reprints and just discard them. But if you're looking at just a way for you to own part of those stories without buying the originals and breaking the bank, those are a lot of fun. And a lot of those, what's great is it has new artwork on the cover. And if you're slabbing books, you're looking at the cover. You're not looking on the inside. So that's kind of fun. Speaking of fun, here's Spawn 32. This is just an awesome cover. I love this one. I picked this up because there's I think it's like a 6-page contribution somewhere, or I don't know if it's a backup story or whatever, but written by Alan Moore. And Alan Moore, legendary writer in comics, and has had some history with McFarlane and Spawn. So you get the great Capullo cover with McFarlane on inks, and it's just fantastic, amazing, great cover. Once you get kind of out of the first couple of years of Spawn, too, look out for those books because they have lower print runs. I almost said speaking of Neil Gaiman, but we're talking about Alan Moore, but there's also the Gaiman-McFarlane history. But this is Sandman 12, and this is A Doll's House Part 3. Again, early Sandman, so single digits or early, or any sort of early Sandman. I think this show's going to be bonkers. I think it's going to be great. I love the cast, the fact that Gaiman's involved. Like, I think it's going to be very, very good. And I think it's going to respect the source material. The Doll's House, I believe, is going to be one of the stories that they focus on early in the series. Maybe not season one. I don't remember the breakdown. But those first few storylines as part of Sandman, they're coming to the show. This book I paid a little bit for, and the seller noted that it had never been opened, but they saw like a scratch on the cover. So I'm not sure what that meant, but I took a chance on it. All right, a few more to go here. New Mutants #2, like I said about Alpha Flight. I love grabbing these early single-digit issues, non-keys, Claremont on story, Bob McLeod on art. McLeod was replaced early on. They wanted a little bit more sizzle or something different for New Mutants to really stand out from X-Men, and they went with Sienkiewicz. So these early issues, not a lot of buzz or hype around them, but I'll take them. I'll take them all day. All right, last couple Marvel team-up books. Kind of going back to what I said earlier. This is Marvel Team-Up number 121, and this is the first appearance of Frogman. So if you're really big on Frogman coming to the MCU, then this is the book to own. Why not? Why not grab some Frogman? Unfortunately, I'll have to look for another copy because maybe Frogman himself just started gnawing on the edge of this book, so that's unfortunate. So not quite near mint as advertised, and it's miswrapped as well. So probably something to add in my collection, and then just keep a mental note of upgrading it. And I'm not going to waste your time trying to get this book off of this piece of cardboard here, but this is Marvel Team Up 140. We have Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Daredevil making appearances in this one. And so there you go, just more Marvel Team Up goodness. All right, that's the stack. That was 25 books. Let's go through the order analysis and break it down and see how these books compared to the fair market value. All right, here is that order that I placed with Atomic Avenue from Capco Comics on March 26, 2022. Just scrolling down to show the total that I paid for this order. $137.70. As I mentioned, I do pay for shipping with this particular seller. He does not offer free shipping, and I think that maybe with a couple of exceptions in here, these books are in really good shape. So I don't mind paying the shipping. And then what I do is I take the $18.70 that I paid for with shipping, and I distribute it over the all of the books in terms of the total cost, so that we see the totals add up down here, $137.70, so that I know that the individual cost of each book is accurate. And then I compare it to the cover price fair market value. So looking at the raw value, for the most part, I came out ahead. So I'll just show the highlights, but overall here, I added $65.62 of value to my collection by acquiring these books. And what I mean by that is, if you take the raw value and add it to the total cost, the way that I look at it is I've exchanged currency for a collectible, hopefully an investment piece. So overall, it's probably closer to, somewhere around $200 of total value. But I've added value by purchasing these books under fair market value. So that's kind of what I look for. That's when I'm picking these up. I look at the fair market value at the time of purchase, and I make that decision. So let's look at some of the bigger winners here. Here's one, that Marvel Team Up 121. Unfortunately, first Frogman condition didn't hold up, but it only cost me $4. And it has a fair market value of $12.36. compare that to Watchmen, where I basically paid fair market value. Like I said, those books are somewhere between 10 and 15, but I've come to understand that. So if I do see those books get close to $10, I try and grab them. Sandman 12, again, it says never opened, but looks like a light scrape on the cover. I'll have to examine that one. Sandman 12 cost me $3.75. To me, that was a steal, even if it does have a scratch. I figured it's a small price to pay to say, let me take the book off your hands and I'll judge it. And if there is a scratch and I have to turn it around, I'm sure I could get my money back on that one. Green Lantern is a $21.35 fair market value raw book. And again, if you're going back with age, then the higher grade, the better the fair market value should be. So if this is kind of across the board of all grades, I always look at it as kind of like a mid grade or a mid to low high grade when you're talking about bronze and copper. And then modern fair market value is pretty much like, I would say, 9.6. But anyway, for this one, in whatever condition that this book has been selling at, the average fair market value is $21.35. And I got it for $7.75. So that was the biggest gainer there, $13.60 value add on that book. The Avengers books are, again, $3-4 books, no big deal. Let's go back to the two Alpha Flight #1s. That was a total cost of $16.75 each. They're currently sitting at $18.87 of fair market value. And again, that I'm looking for that one to turn around into a slab and take the best of the 4 or 5 copies that I have and send it in. These books are older, so they do have value in CGC. So what I like to do is just say, well, what is near mint? Let's define near mint. If we're saying near mint is 9.4, then if I turn all of these books to a 9.4, we can kind of see the general range that I was targeting in terms of a CGC slab value. And the total value add for all of these books in a 9.4 is $118.34. So not anything earth-shattering here. A lot of these books being non-keys in a 9.4, they're just not valuable. There's nothing. Sleepwalker 3, nope. It's being reported as 15 cents. It's a 15-cent. Never mind. I thought it was saying it's only worth 15 cents. Anyway, Sleepwalker 3 has nothing in a 9.4. Marvel Team Up 88, nothing in a 9.4. So a lot of these don't even have values, just because, like I said, the desirability of these are not as high. And so if I were to take just the books that had recorded GPA values and sent them in, and they all got 9.4s, I would have added $118.34 to my collection, and that includes any CGC fees, shipping back and forth. I include all of that so that it's real easy to see, if I was going to lose money there. So under column V, these are the CGC values. And again, Alpha Flight #1 to me is kind of the key in here. That's an $81 book in a 9.4. So again, a $16.75 investment, somewhere between $25, $35, $40 to slab it. Not a bad value at $32 each if those 2 books are 9.4. Now, the fun part is when I'm performing my analysis, I try and figure out when I'm purchasing a book, I want to look at the distance, the sort of multiplier range between the raw book, what it is in a 9.4, and then what it could be in a 9.8. Because as you start buying from these sellers and you get familiar with them, some of them do deliver these books as 9.8s. Now, are all the books 9.8s? Absolutely not. We did see a couple already that were not, without even taking them out of the bag. But for fun, at least fun for me, I love doing this. I love flipping all of these books to 9.8 and updating all of them just to see what it could have been if they were all 9.8s. And there's your ceiling $3,163.68. So that's on the high end range. So let's point out some of the potential that hopefully when I go back and grade these, and you can kind of see too, why am I buying $2, $3, $4 books, some $10 like Watchmen 11? It's because of the potential for these books to be worth so much more if they are in that super high end of the high grade. So Watchmen 11, it's a $300 book in a 9.8. Why? The cover is almost pure white, and you could see it had that color rub on there. So like an all white or an all dark cover, those are super, super tough books. And people will pay a premium for those, and it's worth the risk for me. And if I have them all slabbed, or if I have them all raw, excuse me, and they're all just loose, I'd love having kind of a complete set of Watchmen anyway. So there's usually multiple reasons where I kind of justify the purchase. All right, let's look at the last set of books here and wrap this up. Special edition X-Men #1, $233 in a 9.8, and I spent $6.75. The book looks gorgeous. That one has a real shot at being a 9.8, and again, I would send that in, slab it, hang it on the wall. Sandman 12, I don't know what to make of that scratch. $237 in a 9.8 if the scratch is there or if it's on the bag. I don't know. I'll take a look. Marvel Team Up 121. I know that one is not a 9.8, but if it was, $230. Avengers 318, $175 in a 9.8. Avengers 266, that was the one where the seller listed it as a near mint minus. But could it be pressed? Maybe. $3.25 buy-in for a potential gain of $200. Avengers 230, 275. And then the two Alpha Flight books. This is why I'm on the hunt for these, trying to, gamble 10, 20 bucks here and there to try and get a 9.8 candidate, because that is a $318 book. So there it is. That's the full order from Atomic Avenue from Capco Comics. I'll go ahead and grade these offline, get this into my collection. But this is like so typical of kind of the purchase that I like to make, and I like to be, a little bit just kind of covering a lot of bases. A little bit of spec, some older books, some 90s books, great artists, great writers, great stories, great content, nostalgic books that I had as a kid that I wanted to upgrade, and certainly last but not least, value. I'm looking for value. I'm looking for books that have potential, books that are overlooked, books that, and when I say overlooked, a lot of people will tell you like a character is being overlooked, or a storyline is being overlooked, or a first appearance is being overlooked, when there's value right in front of you. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Happy collecting, and see you next time.